Welcome to Therapy by Choice podcast. My name is Robyne Vance. I am your host for this podcast and an associate marriage and family therapist working with individuals, couples, and families. My therapeutic services are offered through Therapy by Choice, which is a private practice with offices located in San Jose and Palo Alto, California. On this podcast, we offer educational information on a variety of mental health topics. We speak to specialists in the field, and we answer your questions. We focus on helping you navigate life's challenges and offer easy-to-follow practical advice and opinions. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me for part 2 of this episode of Therapy by Choice podcast with special guest, the Reverend Dr. Richard L. HANZY, and we are discussing social media and its role in mental health information. In part 1, we focused mostly on defining mental health and mental illness and discussing the impact of misinformation. In this second half, we'll be discussing how to spot information, how to access reliable resources, and of course, I'll have a question for the doctor during a round of Robyne's random reflections. So let's get back to it. All right, Dr. HANZY, what are some steps that people can take to spot and avoid misinformation about mental health on social media?
I think one of the first things is always to consider the source of the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
The credibility of the poster, the website. Now, sometimes you have like maybe a mother who attends NAMI and she will share a post from NAMI.
Mm-hmm.
And so clicking on the NAMI, you can see that, hey, and then doing a Google search and see, hey, this is a reputable organization versus
Exactly.
someone just sharing a post from another user about something about mental health. And when you click that user, you see they just wrote it or created it. There's a rise of content creators, so to speak.
Yes.
They go around the country. They want to have conversations about mental health, bipolar disorder, narcissism is a huge one that got a lot of content
A
creators,
big one.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Creating a lot of content. All I would say was research the speaker. What's their education? What's their background? And so that way, once you recognize that, a lot of times you'll see that a lot of these folks are just content creators. They're not therapists, and they're passing around information, that may seem helpful or good advice, but in the long run, in the wrong situation, it can be harmful. So, although these folks create this content for their business, I would, like I tell anybody, I would kind of fact check it or go reach out to a mental health provider to get a second opinion to just see
Yeah.
if I'm gonna validate this in the context, because I can give information that may sound good in one context, but it may not apply to the next. Like I may be dealing with this, they may give out information about infidelity, and
Yes.
it may sound good, but they may be talking about a different type of infidelity than what I'm dealing with.
Mm-hmm. Because there's many different types.
Right. So it may not completely apply. Right. And so we have to just be mindful of, you know, does this apply to me or don't it? I tell people, you cannot react or make decisions based on this information unless you fact check it,
Exactly. Yeah.
because you can cause more harm to your situation than help it.
Mm. And I think, we talked a little bit about in the first section, the importance of mental health professionals, providing psychoeducation. I know for me, when I was working inpatient, it would be really important for a patient's family to be able to learn about the mental illness that their family member was diagnosed with. So, of course, like you mentioned, I would go give a resource for NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. But how can people find reliable mental health resources online or on social media without like kind of getting lost in the sauce to say, to try to say that?
Well, there's a ton of mental health organizations. Honestly, because of the web presence of most, just a simple Google search, right?
Hmm.
You do depending on what are you looking for. Um, like if you just Google mental health, right? And you're gonna get a lot of mental health, a lot of sites like group therapy, better health. Those are agencies that provide some, but I would start with I always say SAMHSA, but you know what I mean. I know that's not the
Yeah,
proper pronunciation, but it's
I pronounced it Samsa.
so SAMHSA, right? HSA.gov. That is SAMHSA.gov is a huge, it has a lot of resources for mental health. We have the National Institute of Mental Illness. It provides a lot of information. The World Health Organization, right? We know the infamous WHO. I said WHO, right? And also the CDC, right?
Yes,
The CDC has a place for mental health, Medline Plus dot
Deadline Plus.
right.
Mhm.
There's Mental Health America. That's a nonprofit organization that has a lot of resources. As we mentioned, right? NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. Uh, in even places, mentalhealth.gov, but also you can look at sites like the Mayo Clinic.
Oh
A
yeah, I love
lot
you.
of good resources that you can go to. Uh, it's a lot of value information. It's one that I'm looking for. Growth therapy is a good one that tells you all of the different forms of therapy. But the Pan American Health Organization. Uh, so it is the Cleveland Clinic. If I'm gonna say, if I'm
Mhm.
at the Mayo Clinic, I gotta throw out the Cleveland Clinic. Also, and then like California Mental Health.gov, right? So mentalhealth.ca.gov. So each state has a mental health organization that has a list of resources here in the state. Now, and obviously APA,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
We can't forget about the American Psychological Association
Mhm.
for Marriage and Family Therapies. They have, the National Association of Marriage. Then there's the California version. Each state has a version of that you can look into. The National Association of Social Workers. They have a resource page. So it's a lot, even if you go like Mental Health Harvard even have a page now. So there's a lot. So the federal government, each state, and each county has a mental health organization that you can reach out to. And even most cities are starting to develop mental health organizations within the city. I know here in the Bay Area, the city of Berkeley have their own mental health organization for the city,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
Even though it's inside of Alameda County, who covers the city of Berkeley, but the city of Berkeley now has their own full-on mental health organization as well.
Mm.
So started.
A lot of resources.
Mhm.
Where do you think, for articles and different things, how would you consider psychology today?
Psychology today is a lot of licensed. Those folks are licensed clinicians that's providing that feedback, right? And so,
Mhm.
within our career field, there's a lot of people who have expert experience or qualify as experts in specific topics. So
Yes.
you have a lot of valuable experted articles and blogs created by therapists who are not just certified as experts, but they have many years of experience in the career field. So they can talk about it because they walk the walk, they've grown with it, they've learned from it. So I would consider it a definite for the reading, the blogs, but also a great place also to search for therapists in your area as well.
Exactly. And how can we help create, more informed and compassionate online communities when it comes to mental health?
E To be honest with you, I think a lot of licensed therapists are looking into that, right? Because
Hmm.
we walk a fine line. You look at all of the therapists who actually had a platform. Look at a Dr. Phil where he lost his license,
Hmm.
right? It's a fine line between what we can say and do online that won't cost us, right? Because we're all guided by a licensing. So you're going to see a lot of therapists out there that don't put themselves out there because they don't want anything to be used against them or complaint made about something they said against their license,
Mm.
right? Because we all know when you put yourself on platforms on social media, just as many people that love you is going to be 3 to 4 times as many people that don't like you.
Yeah.
I look at another African American psychologist, Dr. Umar, right?
Hmm.
Very outspoken individual, but for the past 5 or 6 years, he was fighting for his license,
Yeah.
right? There were several people who made complaints and about him and what he was saying and went after his license, even though the things that he was talking about had nothing to do with his profession.
Yeah.
So when you enter this space of being a online person, that's why you can get like a psychology professor who goes to YouTube and put out 1,000 videos on narcissism and create
Mm.
different forms of narcissism because that person is not held accountable, right, by a licensing board.
Yes.
That person is an educator. That person is, educators by definition, those they can create theories because that's a part of what they do. It's just a theory, right? A theory is put out there to be either proven or disproven, right?
Exactly.
But we can't do that as mental health providers that's licensed because we're all held to any licensed professional, doctor, therapist. We are held to the standard of no harm. So I can't put something out there randomly that can be proven to be harmful. It can cost me my license or a suspended
Yes.
license or a marker against my license.
Yes. Mm. Interesting. Um, so let's say I'm scrolling, I don't know, TikTok one day and I come across something that I believe is harmful. Maybe I'm a client and or I'm in therapy or I'm someone who's suffering with mental illness. What should someone do if they do come across a post or a video or something that they believe is spreading harmful or inaccurate information about mental health?
Well, they can obviously report that to the social media, right? You can report it to TikTok. That you have the right as a person to provide posting the thing. I believe this is harmful and give your opinion on why it's harmful. But I know a lot of people can delete negative posts if they so choose to.
Right.
Uh, but it's not really much you can do
Yeah.
because in America, we're freedom of speech, freedom of expression. And unless you can prove to the organization like a TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook that this is harmful, it's not much that could be done.
Mm. Okay. Mm. And then a follow-up to that, are there any just small, simple actions that people can take to advocate for better mental health education on social media?
Yeah, I think that is I think just like we see all of these different departments, I think these social media companies need to be more mindful of mental health, right? They need to have more resources available. They need to, I think if there's a post, like there's a traumatic post. I remember, all of the, when we had all of the killings of black people being posted online.
Mhm.
You see a lot of violent videos of shootouts, right? I think there should be a button Like, hey, if this is traumatizing to you, like here, you can click the button and it has a list of resources,
Oh, oh, wow. I like that.
right? To where like there's a emotional support button.
Mm,
So again, if they're not going to block the material altogether, at least because a lot of times people see that by accident, right?
yeah,
It's
just scrolling through.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you just witnessed a murder, like you've never seen anything like that in your life, and now you're having nightmares, and now you're struggling with vicarious trauma,
Mhm.
right? To me, I'm shocked that a lot of folks haven't filed a lawsuit against social media organizations for, you know, c- posting things on their timeline that they didn't subscribe to that causes trauma.
Yeah. I like that, the kinda like the panic button for resources. Like, I guess we heard it here first.
There
So
we go. He's groundbreaking it. So when people start to see that button, those are things that need to be in place.
yeah. Mm. And, because we are, curious folks, when people are starting to learn about mental health and illness, I understand that social media would be one of the places that they would go searching for information. But what's one key thing that they should understand to break through the misinformation out there?
Do their research,
Do the research. Okay.
right? Do your research. Listen, there's a lot of things that will appear online. It's like, I want to hear it, right?
Mhm.
It sounds good, I can relate to it, it feels good in my soul, but I wanna do the research because I don't wanna be the person that's parakeeting. It's what I call people who report things or pass along or repeat things online that they didn't research, they parakeet it. Just like a parakeet mindlessly repeat the words that said to it,
Mhm.
I don't want you parakeeting information that you haven't fact checked. And it turns out because we are responsible for what we say, so the damage that can come from it, right? I don't want you or I to be responsible for folks to be parakeeting bad information. But it's just so easy, to hit that share button, to hit that
Yeah.
like button, to like, oh girl, I read this online on social media today, and they said da 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 da, right? Now you're part of passing along a falsehood.
Yeah. And a lot of, those accounts and sites, if we're talking about evidence-based research, it's maybe like loosely based, but definitely not evidence-based research.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think? And it kind of is, I think, the responsibility for folks in the field, but also for those outside the field of mental health. What ways or how do you think we can improve the way mental health is discussed and portrayed on social media? Besides telling our clients like, "Hey, don't use Chat GPT," or "Hey, don't believe everything you see." Are there any ways that we can help improve?
Uh, mm, their mental health use around social media. I think folks are going to continue to do what's ever the most convenient thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want them to use it responsibly. And sometimes I think one of the best things we can do for folks is obviously make what we do more accessible. So they don't have to rely on social media. Social media is more accessible than mental health professionals.
Yeah.
So and even less accessible to certain groups of people. So, social media is always their first go-to, or Google is their second go-to, right?
Mhm.
And so it's important to uh really work on that. Like, okay, this is what I can and so systemically, until we improve access to mental health, all we can do is continue to put out all of the mental health stigma information, encourage people to do their research, and encourage people don't to act on anything until they talk to a professional.
Yeah.
Uh that's all we have. And until more professionals enter that space and are comfortable, or is some guidelines are loosened to have more professionals kind of be more of a presence online, uh, it's going to be kind of left to like the folks with no overseeing out there, always going to be spreading more information than folks that are
Yeah.
professionals.
That makes sense. Mm. Mm. Um, Next up, we want to talk a little bit more, or wrap up with a little bit more about you. How can my listeners get in touch with you? What do you have coming up to share with us? Are you accepting new clients right now? What's going on with you?
Well, they can definitely check out my website. It's www.myfaithcs.org, myfaithcs.org. There's a lot about me on the website. They can reach out if they're looking for an appointment. Like, I'm always booked, you know.
Booked and busy.
Yeah, but I'm definitely, I add people to the waiting list. I do in some situations take on emergency cases. So it is, I definitely say reach out. I'm always going to get back to folks. I don't like to leave folks hanging. Uh, and we'll go from there. I've been doing a lot of, just being, open to the public. I have a kind of, like I called it, like a didactic / psychoeducation workshop coming up this Saturday. Uh, I've got another training that I'm doing in a hospital. And so I'm trying to get together. I'm trying to restart my men's group and my women's group. I had it prior to COVID, and
Mhm.
obviously COVID wiped that out.
Yeah.
So I'm carving some time where I may be doing it on Zoom. So I'm thinking next year. I do have an app coming out soon, a mental
All
health
right.
app that's going to allow for people to come together and support each other on there. So I'm very happy about it. It should be going live in the next week or so. So I'm proud of that. That's going to be, it's called Life Support, and it's spelled Lyfe, Support. So it's Life Support. That's going to be also the name of the podcast I'm going to be starting next year, Life Support with Dr. Rich. And because we're going to be giving life support. I
Mm-hmm.
truly believe in the spiritual version of speaking life always.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so that's what we're going to be branded around. So our podcast, our social media groups, everything is going to be around in the life support branding. So I'm looking forward to that. Like the life support groups that I'm gonna be doing. I'm looking forward to moving more into group work. And I mean, I believe the group work that I'm gonna be doing is a direct result of this topic of like having more of a bigger impact,
Yes.
right? To reach more people because of the negative impact of social media sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh just by, what is it, like suggestive reasoning, right? So if one person on social media says, "Hey, I got these symptoms, I think I have this," and then someone else said, "I got those symptoms too,
Mm-hmm.
I think I got that too," right? To just have these groups, these psychoeducation groups, whether I'm doing like, hey, a psychoeducation topic on narcissism or bipolar or on autism or on ADHD, to kind of do these group work so I can have more reach and bring more people in to connect more to people. I think I've always loved doing groups, and I think my passion is leading me to do more group work. So once I establish the app, I think my focus is going to be really squaring off time to do more mental health groups.
Thanks. And definitely, listeners, we will be linking Dr. HANZY'S contact information in the podcast description if you didn't catch any of that. So don't worry, that information will be available. All right. And I definitely want to thank you, Dr. HANZY, for just taking time out of your busy schedule, and educating our listeners. But before you go, I'm going to have you participate in a quick little game called Robyne's Random Reflections. So occasionally I, have these random thoughts, random musings, and I'm always interested in how others might answer these questions. So I'm going to have you pick a number between 1 and 5.
Let's go 3.
Right. Number 3. Okay. You decide to go off the grid for a bit of me time without telling anyone. Where's the first place people who know you well would go to find you?
Oh, easily. In my boat. Out on the water fishing. Like everybody knows that. Dr. Richard HANZY loves to fish. If you Google my name, you probably the first thing you get is a picture of me holding a fish. Listen, I love the water. That is my self-care time. That is my therapy. That is also a place that I could go and talk to my dad and my uncle that's passed away. I could just get out there and feel closer to them. And that's my happy space.
Happy space. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank my guest, the Reverend Dr. Richard HANZY, and thank you, the listener, for joining me for this episode of Therapy by Choice podcast. Don't forget to like and share this podcast, and feel free to follow us on social media. Also, if you have a specific question or would like to request a specific topic to be covered, you can text me at 408-786-9651 or email me at Robyne@therapybychoice.com. That's Robyne, ROBYNE, @therapybychoice.com. Also visit our website at www.therapybychoice.com. My name is Robyne Vance. Take good care. While we hope to provide insight and education, our podcast does not replace therapy, and listening to our podcast does not establish a therapeutic relationship. If you or someone you know are in crisis, please call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988.